Zbrush with all these colors and pits and scars and whatnot, and you want to start doing color correction and hue and saturation, you can't do that. That's why you always want to make sure you're dealing with a single base color that you can mask out very easily with all the colors in the index, and just change it, and everything will change very easily. And when you're, let's get out of external now. We're going to now play with your maps. I hate using parallels. It's like eats up my whole computer. It doesn't work. So now, first going to open Photoshop. Close these. Here are all your maps. First thing I like to do is take your ambient occlusion map. If you want to do it now, you can. I'm going to go in here, zoom in, hit the brush tool with a nice, like, let's do it different. A little smaller, there we go. Hold the Alt key so you can drop the color area. Just brush it. That's it. You can also go using your clone brush, which is right here. Hold the option key, drag, and it'll follow color area if you want. But I like using brush key. All right, let's take space. So we're going to go here to duplicate layer under the layer palette, moving it all to the vertex color folder to run them all in the same layer. We can close this. You don't have to save it. Normals, you don't need to adjust it. Cavity map. I'm sorry, I forgot to show you guys the cavity map extraction. I'm going to go back to
You ever find yourself having to clean up your normals like
all the time? All the time. The same way I just did the occlusion. But I'm not going to go through all the maps because time and time is not very
Now, what's the difference between using something like XNormal as opposed to a multi-map exporter from Zbrush? Have you compared the two?
Yeah, I don't like them.
Oh, yeah?
That's the easiest answer. I tried it. I don't know the best workflow. I don't know someone that uses it a lot that can show tutorials on it. That's kind of how I get all my research from.
Yeah.
None.
Okay.
No one seems to have anything very solid in terms of a workflow from there, so no.
Okay.
The only thing that I've found that's pretty decent is their normal map extraction.
Okay.
That's it. Their ambient occlusion is horrible. The only other program while this is loading that I would say is probably the best for, one of the best for ambient occlusion and normal map is Top of them. If you ever have it, you got a really good tool because it may suck at retopologizing, but it's really good for generating really good ambient occlusion and normal maps. Maybe better than XNormal. Generating cavity map is actually very easy. Doesn't take any settings or whatever. Just don't. The one thing I would say is don't use the cavity map extraction under the baking options. You'll get horrible results. This road seems possible. There we go. Like I was saying, don't go here. Don't go to cavity map check here. Don't do that. Go straight to the tools palette. There's a little thing here called tangent map normal map to cavity map. This little window will pop up. There is a use. Find your normal map. What you have to do, drag it in there. You can see part of the top left corner of your map. There's no way to have it full view, that's the way it is. An easy way to generate it, go over here, right click, generate. And one note, when you're generating it, there's a million options here, and the one I found working with everyone is EMB is the best option, okay? Don't change any settings, they're not that important. Save it, right click on the same map you just found. Call it all, something you can remember, you know what I mean? Help cavity. Done. Alright, so I'll get out of this. That's cavity now.
Could you post all the settings you have? Like, I don't know, if you have like a blog or something for the screw.
Yeah, I should. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I did one character from Muse Games like a couple of months ago, from start to finish, and you actually get to watch me go through all the mistakes and headaches, start to finish in real time. I might speed it up, 'cause I don't think you want to watch 2 weeks of sculpting, and so it's going to be like time lapse, maybe like a little faster, maybe 3 hours of video. They don't go through the entire process. You get to see me do one of the characters for Muse. Cool. And you get to see this whole process, texturing, doing leather textures on metal textures, adding rust, The guys I work at Muse, we came up with some really, really cool techniques, especially with trying to generate the visual for clothing, highlights, all that stuff.
Is it for that steampunk game you guys were developing?
Yeah, man.
Cool.
Get to see all that fun stuff. So here's your cavity map.
Gene, can we get that video too?
What's that? Oh. Here we go. The first thing on top should always be your ambient occlusion map. First thing on the bottom below it should be always your cavity map. And color map, which I have to name it. Let's name this one cavity, like spelling short and real. First thing I have to do with that AO is to drop it under multiply. Nothing's happening yet. Then with the cavity map, I like to either play with multiply or overlay. Overlay seems to give a nice bright contrast to it. Let's see what multiply looks like. Whatever floats your boat, you know what I mean? Either one works really nice, but overlay seems to give a nice feel, especially putting it in a game. You're looking at a projection screen, but if you could all see it on my laptop, you can see it's actually nice and bright. You can see the detail, especially with the ambient occlusion, really nice detail. And when you're working with your maps, you always want to save this as PSD, call it color, and for a reason being, you're working in a pipeline for a game studio, you never know if the director, texture artist, or someone else that will be taking over from you will want to edit this model, or this character, or the texture, so make sure it's easy for them to find it. So body color, PSD. Okay, so I'm going to close this, open up the PSD I was working with, because I cleaned up a bunch of stuff here. So I added some gold for the button there. I didn't put too much detail into it, but a quick, dirty way that I like to do my texturing is I first like to create a folder underneath, directly above the color map. I call it maybe like, let's call it dirt, whatever. I don't know, mist. let's play around with the pants first. I'm just gonna show you like how I do like texture. For those of you dying to see this in texture day. So we're first gonna go here to hold the Alt key and select the color map. We're gonna go to your W key, which is your what do you call that again? Your magic wand tool. And just rub around the pan area. You'll see it's selected. Only the blue is selected, which is great. We're gonna go to your selection, click on save, call it pan. When you start having several items on the board, like glasses, shirt, you want to start creating a bunch of selection menus here. So when you start bringing in textures like fabric, which I'm about to do, it'll be very, very quick. It'll be very quick to mask them out when you bring them in. So I'm going to look for a fabric I can use. Oh, great. So take this guy. I'm just going to drag him in with the arrow key into here, put him right there. Obviously, it's too big, so we're going to zoom out a bit. Transform him. Remember I told you to make a selection piece of load, find the pen, beauty. So with the texture selected, I'm going to hold Shift, Command, or Shift Control if you're on PC with the I key, and it's going to invert the selection. Or you can go up here if you're like to go the long way, and go to inverse. Okay? Hit the delete key, boom, only the hands is texture. It's good to work this way, so you like keep this file pretty small. If you just drop texture without having to mask out areas that are like irrelevant, your file will get very, very heavy. Now, the one thing I like to do immediately is to take the texture, hit Command U or Control U, and drop saturation right there. Because I'm not trying to color the paint. I just want to add texture of the paint. Because remember, the paint is the blue. So with this being said, I'm going to take the layer palette, the pant texture, I'm going to name it pant, so you, the other artists will all know what that is when you see it again. We're going to go down to not multiply, but we're going to try something like overlay or soft light. See what you got there? Very nice. Let's try overlay. That's even nicer. Okay, so let's say that's good. We're going to go down here to the hand pocket, to the eraser tool. Save this guy, and let's bring him into Maya. I think we're all excited to see this one. First and foremost, you want to make sure you're on such a project. Good. You bring your mesh that you have finished in Zbrush, X normal, and whatnot. You always immediately apply a blend shader to it. Name it, call them body shader. I'm going to go to my color palette, file menu. Look for color PSD. this is a common mistake that I tend to see a lot, and don't worry. You'll see that there's been a transparency added. The reason being is that when I did the pant texture, when you start applying masks to it, it retains alpha information, so you always have to make sure you have the channel window open all the time. And you'll see this little thing hanging out there. That's actually the pant masking. It made it an alpha mask. So go here, delete channel, Control S to save, break the connection of the transparency. Of course, it doesn't have this normal map to it, so again, that's very easy to find. Make sure you have tangent space normals all the time. That arrow, folder, and look for your normals. There it is. As you can see, the retopology mess that I created is at a meter 1,306 quads. That's perfect for an iPhone. Pretty cool if you put them in a, especially at this distance in the concept of the handheld, it'll look pretty cool. I'm not done yet. We're gonna show you a quick way to do spec maps because it looks really weird when everything is shiny. Very important when you're working development. Spec is always important.
Sorry, I noticed in your texture when you added it,
Yeah.
is your AO showing up on that, or was that?
Oh yeah,
flat?
oh yeah. I'll take up the AO right now, show you. Oh, there's no AO. Good eye. Oh man. That will be even better now. So it's updated. See this little sample button here? Flat. There you go. Even better. There's the AO. There's the cavity. So much deeper. It's good. These are the nice definitions of the veins, the muscles. Hand folds come out really nice. But too much spec. So let's go back to Photoshop. The quick and dirty way to do spec is to take your alpha, your angular occlusion map. Select it first, obviously. Doing that, so I'll just open it. And as you can see, I always like to work in with a project folder for Maya. I put all my maps and source images. That's just me. And all my OBJs and data. And all my scene files and scene files. Everyone works differently. This is how I work. And I opened a AO map separately. Trick 1, Control J or Command J in Mac, duplicate it, okay? Take the top one, hit Control L or Command L, which is your levels, drag the bottom right slider all the way down to like 80% to the left, so it's like almost dark. That's the map. Okay? Now we're going to go in and bring out spec. The easiest way to do it is to get your eraser tool with an opacity of 30 to 40%. I like going in between, so 35 is a good number. We're going to zoom into his mouth and ears, mouth and eyes, because those actually have spec in it. That's how you bring out spec. And the reason why I say 40% or 35% is that you could add spec here, and let's say the area in here is even brighter, just rub over it again. And let's say that area in there is brighter, rub over it again. See, until it gets completely shinier than the other. If you always work with, if you always work with 100% opacity, it's always going to be full spec. You don't want to work that way, okay? You want to work in moderation. A little rough. Wash. Whatever, just not as nice.
You can also do that with an adjustment layer, right? If you want to.
Sure. And here's another trick too. So if you go back to your color palette, let's say I'm working with, let's just say his hands is a pair of boot, okay? And the boot is shiny, the boot has wear and tear. And you want to show that there is some speck starting to disappear because the boot is starting to wear out, okay? So I'm going to like put some wear and tear on his knuckle area, okay? So a trick I like to do under here, I go to the brush palette, scroll down and look for something I could use that will create some nice there. Go to light. You get the idea. Let's say this is where. Drop it down to like overlay. Trick here is to duplicate it into the occlusion map. It shows up directly above it, which is fine. And what will happen is if let's say the boot is shiny, take that texture I just imported in and invert it. Control I, Command I. See what I mean? So shiny boot, where? On the toe area, the kneecap of a leather pant, vice versa. It's a really cool trick. So I'm going to save this out as it doesn't have to be a PSD anymore. Stack. Bitmap. Go here. Apply the bitmap, spec map, go to spec color. Boom, file. It's all going to be whatever in the folder, spec. Very shiny lip, very shiny eye. Skin's nice and matte. And one note I did cover earlier is that when I brought in the texture map from Retapo, is I made sure when you're dealing with bipeds or characters, always want to make sure the head is a little bigger than the actual body. And you always want to make sure the parts cover every part of 0 to 1. This is a lot of focusing here. Actual routines, pretty good information. All right, looks like I covered the entire pipeline in less than an hour and 15 minutes. So I hope I didn't go too fast. Anybody have any questions? Or
Yeah.
Might have gone too fast.
A good question. You're dealing with subtools in Zbrush. When you go to retopo all those subtools, is there a way you're combining it so that sometimes when I retopo and I add subtools, I'll start retopo, two meshes kind of combine in Zbrush. I'll start retopoing inside the other mesh. Is there a way you combine all your subtools so that when you go to retopo it, it's like one single glob of clay?
I can tell you, but I'd rather show you. But we don't need this anymore. We don't need this anymore. We don't need that anymore. I'm trying to figure out RAM here. I don't know about that. Suppose it'll be fun. Here's a character working on with Muse games. Their upcoming game called Amsterdam. I don't think he's done yet. He's a little more badass. got a bunch of subtools on them, so you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I wanted to bring this into something like 3D code, seeing the tail has like a gazillion subtools. What I would generally do is I'd have everything visible, and I would go right down here to merge visible, and look for the merge file.
Do they all have to be at the same subdivision level?
You could try first. I mean, right now he's if I just merge everything visible, 1.5 could be a little sluggish on another retopo program like TopoGun or Maya. But for something like 3D code, let's test this. Let's export this into merge, whatever. You can even take this whole thing into X normal and generate all your maps. That's the beauty of it. So I'm gonna go to 3D code and let's see if this works. And if you have a slow computer, you would wanna, let me backtrack real quick. If you have a slow computer, this body is at 800,000. I can go down to like, not that low, maybe like a couple up. As long as you can see a decent silhouette, because this is a really bad silhouette, it's very choppy. You want to go at least to a silhouette that shows a decent amount of roundness to it. That will look really good when you're in 3D code or a good topology code, especially with like the ears. You don't want to retopo with that. You want to retopo with, yeah, that's okay, but this is better. So you can do this to all the subtools, get them all to like a low. Okay, that's not moving. You get the point. Get them all to a decent amount of subdivision. Merge visible, then when you merge them, it should be at a lower count at that point. So if I go to import, reference mesh, that's for merge, bandage. This is going to take a while because 1.5 mil. So you see what I mean when I say if you have subdivisions, try to help out the speed by going down a couple. Because there you go. Looks like we work with it. My computer's actually running very slow right now because this is a very big sculpt that I brought in here, so you can easily go in here and do your thing. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Anybody have any?
Question. Basically, recall that you said you recorded some modeling session, like tutorial.
The entire.
Okay.
The entire.
I was just curious if you have anything to recommend for like doing screen caps, like video capture or desktop.
If you're on Mac, ScreenFlow, and if you're on PC, Camtasia. What's the free one? Fraps. But does that do screen capture or just game? Yeah, those are not for. Yeah, but. Yeah, Camtasia or ScreenFlow. It's the only thing I know. And it gives you the best resolution too. I like Camtasia because once you save it and export it, it exports directly to the API. ScreenFlow, you kind of have to like export it as MOV or whatever. Anybody have questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Is that a technical question?
Yeah.
For ZBrush, instead of using like the pinch brush, because I know when you pinch, they say that it doesn't transfer to your normal map when you're displacing that. What will you use instead of?
Why not?
Because it's something what it does with. Well, I assume like it's something that what it does with the topology.
Not at all, man. I use it all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, as long as you're using, you export it as a high subdivision into X normal, it will capture whatever you give it.
So you don't.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I use it all the time. You had a question?
Supposing you build your model too dense in Maya, is there a way to like, if you were to export the how would you backtrack if you felt that you built it too high and the density too high in Maya to begin with?
With the game mesh?
Yeah, like the initial mesh. Like you think you added maybe too much detail, like you maybe.
Too much mesh material for the animation?
Yeah, like.
You
some
want to
initial-
know a way to like bring it down?
Go backwards, like say, see how your Hulk was like really low poly to
You want
begin with.
yeah.
And when you brought the normal map on, it was like, you know, like the normal map obviously made it look dense, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
But say I built the initial mesh too dense in Maya, is there a way to like backtrack?
Yeah, because we can just delete it.
Manually delete
The
it.
3D code?
Yeah.
Would it be 3D code?
She's saying that the 3D code mesh was too dense.
It would be this program, right?
Her
3D
base
code
mesh.
or?
She finds
You want to
out.
go backwards with that? You want to make it lower?
Yeah, say I
Oh,
built like
yeah,
too much.
there's a neat trick here, yeah, so. You go to Zbrush. Watch this. So, let's say this is at its lowest subdivision, and you want to make this even lower. It might work, it sometimes won't work, but you go to your geometry tab, right below your subdivision area here, right under there, it's called reconstruct subdivision. If you tap that, it will actually, it didn't work, but sometimes it does take the 4 quads around it and make it one. That's one way. The only other way I can tell you is just to retopple it.
Or 3D, yeah, 3D code.
But I would retopple it because you don't want to like take a quarter of the entire topology and divide it because it will affect especially like the fingering. I would honestly just retopple it.
Thank you.
No problem. Question? Ideas?
So for your portfolio, when you're creating stills for your portfolio, how do you do those? You do those right out of Maya, or do you use Gorospe tool bag or something like that?
I do Maya viewport 2.0 renders. They give you really good instant results. Marmoset's really good. I don't use it as much. I also take images that I rendered off Maya and edit them with extra effects in Photoshop. Anyone else?
As a freelance artist, when did you start freelancing? You only freelance, right?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you begin? How did you get into freelancing?
Okay, this is my journey. Okay, I started doing 3D like 6 years ago. I learned pretty much everything 3D on my own. I didn't really go to school for this. It looks like I went to school, but I didn't. I actually spent a lot of time on my own studying every DVD out there, every YouTube video. The one thing I would tell anybody that wants to get into this industry is to draw a lot. A lot of companies will look at you if A, you could do 3D and you can draw. If you can draw really well, you might have a very good chance of getting into a studio. Another thing I would recommend is also do a lot of internships. Work for free for a while. Get your portfolio up and people will want you pretty much after that.
One thing I'd like to bring up is I've been working in the game industry for a while, and recently I'm out of job, so I'm doing freelance myself. And what I started to do is I started looking at Google searching like all the recruiters of like various game companies.
Yeah.
And also like on LinkedIn, they're like, you know, if you search for like a company like Naughty Dog out in California, which the guys that worked on Uncharted, you can search for, you know, on LinkedIn, Naughty Dog, and there's a profile page, and then they list all the artists, producers, and directors that works for that company, and you kind of go through their list and kind of find like the recruiter,
Yeah.
you know, and hit them up, get connected with the recruiter, and you know, boom.
That's actually a good point because that's how I actually got. I got hired by this game studio in Saudi Arabia. I'm currently doing their 6th character right now. I have no idea what they're using the character for. I've never seen them on Google or whatever, but I don't care because they're paying me. But if you just put yourself out there and you have a really cool portfolio, the jobs will come, especially if you put your time and sacrifice, a lot of sacrifice. 5 years of sacrifices may not seem like a lot to some people, but it does pay off at the end when you start to see that it has value at the end. Anybody have any questions? This is the model I'll be, I don't know how I'm going to distribute it or share it with people. It's going to be like 5 gigs of movie files, but this is a character that Tim doing is over back there, model design. It only took me 2.5 weeks to model. He's well over 13 million polys. This is the kind of stuff you'll be, if you want to know, if you ever want to know the type of standards that game studios, especially, not even AAA, like indie companies are looking for. This is the kind of quality they're looking for. So if you ever wanted to know how good you need to be, this is probably where you should be looking at, is this kind of quality.
You have a retop over there?
Gazillion times.
I mean, do you have one to show?
Oh, you want to see the game model?
Yeah.
Of course.
But how did you get the really small detail in the knees and on the?
Oh, this? Oh, Alpha Mask. We have another meeting. There's so many more tricks I want to show you, but I don't have all night. I mean, I can go a whole week showing you just the stuff that Zbrush can do. Like I wanna show you how to make a mech warrior. I want to show you how to make like robots, hard surface cars. Like you can do a lot of stuff in Zbrush. A lot of people don't know. You think you can only do organic? No way. You can do weaponry. Tons of stuff. And being that he's for a PC platform, not iPhone, he had to be at a certain topology. So the end result was he was at 7,000 quads, 14,000 triangles.
So the texture size.
Hmm?
The texture size.
No, the texture size is only 2K map. Pretty high detail. What? This is a spec. You can see the spec everywhere. Spec, no spec. See the level of detail in the leather. All done through the Photoshop texturing. You can see the spec on the metal. Rust on the.
How many different UV maps?
Just one. There's the UV map. Oh, there's the select. Since there's this is the bottom. There. That's the body. Mask. Yeah.
You need the UV maps as well, and all the textures.
Yep, and the video will show all the painful, tedious
What's the size of the texture map again?
2K map. It's 2K when you start, but we're gonna be, they actually down-res it to 1K when they bring it into the
Sorry, boss.
and which I hate to see them do that. But it gets blurry at the end. But. Is there any more questions I can hopefully answer?
How did you get paid from that project that you did for that Arabic company? What does, you know, do they pay you like in
US dollars, PayPal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Pay you half now, half later, which is pretty cool. They're not pulling a chain.
You can also do electronic funds transfer.
Yeah.
That too.
You have your SWIFT codes. It's right in your account.
Yeah, man, they're cool. They got money, man.
Did you like draft your own like agreement? Draft, you know, like.
Oh, like contracts?
Yeah, contract.
Not for a company like that. If it was like something I know that's gonna be like a AAA game, I would definitely want a contract with them. But I've yet to be offered that kind of position.
I mean, like just